All right, welcome to the JubbTalk portion of this video. That piece was called Messiaenic Complex, and it was named in honor of Olivier Messiaen. And I'll actually get to how and why a little bit further into this video. So in this particular JubbTalk, I wanted to talk about improvisation and its role in all of this, because it's basically central. All of what I do is very improvisational. It would be, and one of the goals of this particular project has been to also be 100% live. It'd be very easy to, record even improvised tracks and play along with them, but I didn't want to do that with this, and so I wanted this to really be a fully live experience. And each of these pieces isn't a song in a traditional sense if it has like a specific melody or chord structure or anything like that. Now each piece does tend to have a key that it's in or something like a key, which is part of what we'll talk about in this one. But each of the voices and each of the loops is really, and the culmination of the piece is each of the voices is just different sounds. And so it's the combination of those sounds that is what make a piece. Because even sometimes the way I'll play them rhythmically will be very different from the previous time that I played it, certainly melodically. And so it's more about combining the different voices together. And then building them, figuring out what's the best way to introduce them. Quite often I'll start on a piece and I'll do a first voice and then I'll do a second voice and then I'll decide that it's better the other way around where I play the second voice first and then the first voice second. How did I get to improvisation? This book. This is Improvisation by Derek Bailey, in case you don't recognize it. And this book changed my life. I first read this in 2001, and that was really the point where I decided that improvisation was going to be an absolute central part of all of what I do musically. And one of the ideas that I got from that book, I'd already been familiar with modal improvisation. And one of the ideas I got from that book was the idea of improvising using just any set of notes. So they don't have to be, your traditional major or minor or your modes. It could be a 6-note scale or an 8-note scale or a 4-note scale or whatever. They don't have to necessarily line up at all with any sort of traditional sense of a major or minor scales or anything like that. And so that's something that I started working with pretty much right away after I read that book and started really working with improvisation. And then years later, when I was learning more about Olivier Messiaen, I found out that he had been working with these 8-note modes that he had created. And so I started, working with some of those because, fit perfectly with that sense of like not necessarily a 7-note scale. And so this is in one of his modes, which is why this is named after him. Olivier Messiaen, Messianic Complex. That's actually about all for this video. Tune in next time when we talk about a technique that I stole from a 6-year-old.